Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive. Daniel here. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, I hope you are soon. Okay, today in the Dungeon Dive, we are going to be taking a look at Gate and its expansion, Gates. These are now being sent out to people who bought them on the Game Crafter after a successful crowdfunding sale. Gate and its expansion, Gates, are created by Jason Glover, of course, the designer of Iron Helm, and the designer of Iron Helm's small brother, Tin Helm. I did buy these from GameCrafter. These were not sent to me as promotional items. I don't remember buying the neoprene mat though. I'm not sure if they sent me the neoprene mat as a promotional item. So I wanted to make sure to show it on camera just in case they did send it to me to show. I am not usually a huge fan of neoprene mats, and when I play the game in the future, I probably won't be using the mat. We'll talk a little bit about it. It's okay. It does kind of make a small game take up a lot more room than it needs to, but it does look nice. So Gate. Gate is part of the Tin series, just like Tin Helm. And Gate says here, test your nerves in this solo play deck building medieval horror game that will have you dying for more. Can you save your town from the perils that lurk outside your gate? So as the back of the tin suggests, Gate is a kind of a micro deck building game combined with a tower defense game. And in the game, you are going to be recruiting citizens of your town in order to fight off and defend against a wave of enemies that are coming in to destroy your gate. Gates, the expansion, just adds a whole bunch of stuff to the game, increasing the variety and increasing the longevity of the game, really. This says, "Oh fools, are you to think that dawn has come? You rest like filthy pigs covered in flies. Can you not hear the hollow harp or drum? The harvest birds still circle in the skies. You laugh and sing and raise glasses and cheer, distracting your minds from the sure fate. Lurking in the old woods lives your nightmare. The latches unlock on my bloody gate. Oh fools, you ignored the prophecy once said. Horrors and creatures from other worlds arrive. Your halls and walls are now painted in red. Not one soul spared, or one flesh alive. Nor I am, for I am the harvester from afar. Some call me Death, some call me Zogar." And of course, Zogar now is introduced as kind of the final boss that you will have to fight after all three waves. So I have combined everything together. I have played one game with just Gate, and I have played one game with the expansion mixed in. And from my perspective, if you have not purchased these yet and you are interested in purchasing Gate, I recommend just getting both of them together. You'll save on shipping. And if you like Gate, you're going to want Gates because, like I said, Gates just adds variety to all of the decks of cards, and you're going to have more fun with the amount of variety that Gates provides. I also recommend, if you have not yet purchased Tin Helm and you are going to be purchasing Gate and Gates, to get Tin Helm along with it, because Gates also comes with two new classes for Tin Helm that also have on the backside two new heroes. And it comes with two new starting items, the Cutlass and the Charm. These cards here, these three cards, really do add a lot of variety with the way that you combine your heroes and their classes in Tin Helm. And so you get a good, just a nice little kind of micro expansion for Tin Helm included in Gates. These three little tins together will offer up a lot of gameplay. They'll take up a tiny little bit of space. You could throw all three in the side pocket of a small backpack with room to spare and have some really good solo time playing these fantasy adventure games. Or fantasy, not so much adventure games, kind of, I guess, fantasy tower defense here. And I guess Tin Helm is kind of a fantasy adventure game. I do think that Jason Glover should be getting a lot more credit as a game designer. Not only is he a fantastic artist, and the art used in all of his games is just amazing. The art that he creates has so much soul, so much character to it. I absolutely love his art. But his game designs are also really well thought out. They are very tight. They are kind of like reductions. This is a micro deck builder. It has all of the things that you would want in a decent deck builder. And it's also combined with a cool tower defense game where you are trying to protect your little city from this onslaught of very nasty looking monsters. And it also has a really cool theme, a really good look, and a nice vibe to it. And the exact same thing can be said about Tinhelm and its elder brother, Ironhelm. Both of these games offer up everything that we love about dungeon crawls and adventure games in very small packages. And yeah, that just is a real testament to Jason Glover's design. He deserves to be more known as a good game designer. And I'm really hoping that, as his games get more popular, that becomes true. But so what do you do in gates? Well, you are going to be defending your gate. And the game comes with the base game comes with 4 cards that you are going to be defending. These represent your village. And then the expansion adds 2 new places to add to your settlement, the mill and the tavern. And those get laid out in a certain order here in a panorama that you are going to be defending each time you play. So you will have your farm, or you will have the farm here, followed by the mill. These are kind of like outside of your gate. These are the surrounding environments of your city. And then you have the gate here. This is what you're mainly trying to protect. If the gate ever gets completely destroyed, you lose the game. And inside your gate, you have the tavern and the tower. And you also have this pyramid here, which is an interesting thing that you use to keep track of the fear of your citizens. And as the fear rises, heroes might join your fight against the bad guys, but also bad things will happen. And if you ever get to the top of the pyramid, then that is another way that you will lose the game. Now, each one of these locations has a normal side, which is what you want to play when you want to play the normal game. If you want to play a harder difficulty, you can flip those over to the red side, and that will provide a greater difficulty for you. I am perfectly fine with just playing on the normal side. Then each one of these will have a certain power, and it'll also have a certain number of hit points, and you will keep track of that with these D6. As the monsters attack these locations, the hit points will go down, and as a bonus, as an action on your turn, you can spend cards to repair them, to repair the damage done by the monsters. If any of these locations ever runs out of hit points, then you can no longer use its power, and that location can no longer be repaired. So you want to keep up on repairing. The farm allows you to purchase to add +1 to your purchase power once per turn. The mill allowed you to build barricades for cheaper. Barricades are new cards that were added in the Gates expansion, and you can build these barricades and put them in front of the locations. And then when the enemies attack that location, the barricade will absorb all of the damage and also do 1 damage back to the enemy. The pyramid cannot be protected by a barricade. The gates, again, this is your main location. If this is ever destroyed, you lose the game. The tavern gives you a +1 to calm, and calming is how you move down on the fear track. So if your fear ever gets too high, you want to spend an action to calm your citizens, and that's how you go down on the fear track. And then the tower allows you to add 1 to an attack value. You also have these commands, and you can spend money to issue these commands. You can spend 2 coins to issue an attack command where you can do a damage to an enemy. You can spend 1 coin to replenish or to cycle through the cards available for you to purchase. You can spend 2 coins to have a festival to lower your fear, or you can spend 2 coins to repair a location. At the beginning of the game, you're going to have a number of starter cards, and those are all marked with an S. The original game only came with 3 starter cards, and your hand is 3 cards. So that means that every game of the original set, you always started with the same cards. But now you have 2 additional starter cards. So what you're going to do is you're going to shuffle those up, and you're going to discard 2 of those without looking, and then this is your starting hand. You can also play where you could draw 2 at random and then pick 1. Right now, I'm just drawing randomly my first 3, and because I'm not really sure about a beginning strategy yet. But this is going to be your deck at the beginning of the game. You have 3 cards in your deck. That gets placed over here. You also have a whole big stack of citizens here, and there are some new citizens that were added into this expansion that have some new abilities. And these are the cards that you're going to be buying into your deck during the deck building phase. And you can use those cards as their monetary value to purchase to recruit new citizens into your fight. You can use those to repair. You can use them to calm the fear, or you can use them to attack. And certain cards have certain values on those, making them better or worse. Then the number up in the top here is how much it costs to recruit that citizen into your militia. And so you're going to give those a shuffle, and then you will deal out 3 here. So you will have, I have the coachman, the alchemist, and the wizard. And then a 4th one goes on the top, and that is the guardian. So those are the cards that I have available to purchase right now. And then you want to set up your enemy deck. And so the enemy, there's going to be 3 waves with a final fight at the end against Zogar. So you're going to take Zogar and put him face down on the bottom. You're going to take your wave 3 enemies. Now the enemies will have a certain number of health before they get killed. They will tell you where they attack. So this guy, the Tintesteed, attacks the mill for 2 damage. And then also does 1 point of fear. And so the enemies will have different values depending on the strength of the enemy. Some enemies do damage to multiple locations, so you really want to watch out for those. So the base game came with, how many did it come with? The red dots are the new ones. So there are 3 new cards in each wave. And the original game, you only faced 3 cards in each wave. In the new game, you face 4 cards in each wave. And so you're going to shuffle up each wave and discard 2. And then you're going to put those 4 on top of Zogar. You're going to do the same thing for wave 2. You're going to randomize your wave 2 enemies. Discard those 2. Put 4 on top of there. And you're going to do the same thing with wave 1. So adding a card to each wave makes the game a little bit longer. About 10 to 15 minutes longer, Jason says, but it also gives you more time to build up your deck and your forces. Some people commented that the game was too fast as it was originally made. It didn't allow for enough time to really build up a good deck. And so by making the game longer, but not too much longer, Jason has allowed the players to think more a little bit about the cards that they are using and the powers that they are building towards. I've played 2 games and they've been around 30 to 40 minutes, so not too long at all. And then finally for setup, you want to build your hero deck. And so once again, the original game came with, I believe, 5 heroes. So you always use the same 5 heroes. These are very powerful citizens that will help you, but you can only use them 1 time in the game. And the expansion comes with 2 additional heroes. So to randomize your hero deck for the game, you're going to shuffle those up and then discard 2 of those. And then this will be your hero deck. And heroes you don't purchase, they come out when your fear track reaches certain points. So when you come across these star symbols, then you get to add a hero to your discard, and then you can shuffle that back into your deck. And when next time you draw that hero, then you can use that hero for their attack power or repair power or their special ability. So one of the cool things about this neoprene mat is it does have the basic outline of a game turn. So the first things that happen are enemies advance, then you draw up to 3, then you use commands, then you recruit, then you use your cards, and then the enemies attack. And so for an enemies advancing, you take the first card here and you place that over here. Some enemies will have something that they trigger when they appear. but this one does not. So the Flyclops here, he has 3 hit points. He's going to do 1 damage to the tavern, and he's going to cause 1 fear. Okay, so then it would be my turn. So I would draw a hand of 3 cards. Well, at the beginning of the game, you only have 3 cards, so I'm going to draw this. So I have the Storyteller, the Guard, and the Farmer. I have 2 coins, or I can do a 2 repair. I could heal fear, or I could do an attack for 1. When the farmer repairs the farm, I will get a +1 to that. The guard doesn't have any special ability. And the storyteller, when recruiting new citizens, I get 1 less. It costs 1 less. So that means with my farm's power of giving me a +1 to a purchase, I could purchase one of these, or not purchase, but I could recruit. They aren't slaves. I'm recruiting them, not purchasing them. I could recruit one of these citizens for 2 less if I wanted to. And that's probably a good thing to do on your first turn. We have 2 purchase power here, so I could do a 4. I could purchase something up to a 4. I only have a 5, a 6, a 6, and a 3. Those are some expensive citizens there. I think I'm going to recruit the coachman for 3. So that'll give me, I can spend 1 there, -1, +1 there, and then a -1. So I could purchase the coachman for 3 there. And anything that is used or purchased, that is going to go over into your discard pile to be shuffled back into your deck during the top of the next turn. Now I also still have my storyteller and I have my guard. I'm going to use my guard for his attack value, and I get to add a +1 because of my tower. So I'm going to attack the Flyclops for 2 damage. So I'll put 2 damage on that Flyclops there. And the Storyteller I'm not really going to use for any action because I just use their free ability there. So I'm just going to discard the Storyteller. And now I've used all of my cards, and now the enemy attacks. The enemy attacks the tavern for 1. So my tavern goes from 4 down to 3. And then that is a full turn. The next thing that happens at the top of the next turn, the enemies advance. So they advance, they go 1 over, and then a new one comes out. And the Skelepede comes out there. If you can only have 2 active enemies, if the next turn this would happen, then the Flyclops would be removed from the game, and I wouldn't get its scoring value at the end, because you want to kind of keep track of how well you did at the end of the game by your score of how many enemies you killed. And then I would draw up to 3 cards again, so I don't have any cards in my discard, so then I would take my 4 cards now, and I would draw 3. And that's pretty much how a game is played. It's super fun. I've had a lot of fun playing this game. It's very simple. Adding the barricades, this was a really neat thing to add. These can really save your skin. And buying them, there are different powers here. So you can get like a woodcutter, and the woodcutter will allow you to buy, to purchase or to create barricades cheaper. A lot of the new citizens have really cool powers, such as trashing cards or sacrificing themselves to kill enemies. Just really interesting things. You can create some really cool, fun, and simple combos. There's some really good choices to make. I think Jason Glover does a good job of creating these small kind of micro games that have an abundance of difficult decisions to make. Every turn you are making crucial decisions, and the economy is really tight. So you always need like 1 more hit point to do what you need to do, or 1 more point of damage to do what you need to do, or you're like 1 gold short. And so when you get that 1 little extra thing, it feels like a big triumph. And I've won 1 game and I've lost 1 game. I lost the game just using the basic set, but I won a game using the expansion. I'm not sure. There is still some luck with, like, what comes out, what heroes you might get in order to play, what enemies you have mixed into your enemy deck and that kind of thing. But I think there are enough ways to mitigate the luck that I don't think people are going to be losing all the time just because of bad luck. There is some good strategy, there are some good tactics, and there is some good decisions to be made. But yeah, once again, Jason Glover impresses me. He's 3 for 3 for me now. I like Gate. I like the expansion Gates. I really, really like Tin Helm. And with all of the expansions and everything, I love Iron Helm. And I'm really happy to be supporting him, and just I'm glad that he's making the kinds of games that he is making. I'm super thankful to him for designing that Dungeon Dive art that is on the t-shirt. And I'm going to get him on the channel soon to have a discussion about his games and his art and stuff. He's a cool dude, and he's making some really neat games, really cool small box games that offer a big gameplay. So, all right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at Gate and Gates. We will talk to you later. Bye-bye.